back here.
Recording in progress.
Okay, good evening. This is the Chicago Computer Society's South Suburban meeting for the month of November. And we've got I got tons of stuff to cover. I have a big handout, and I'm going to be doing a presentation because of something that came up in prior meetings. So I'm going to be on a different machine over here. And basically, the first three topics are PC Manager. A lot of people don't even still know that it exists. PC Manager is a program that Microsoft created last year and keeps enhancing it. It pulls together lots of scattered utilities in Windows going as far back as Windows 3.0. And some of these are for cleaning up trash out of your computer. Some of these things are for doing checks to see if there's a problem of corruption on your system. Is it absolute? No, but it's a good single tool that should have been on all the Windows computers as much as 20 to 30 years ago. And that's not a joke. So it's a case where it took that long, at least 25 years, for them to wake up and make a single tool that pulls features almost nobody knows about unless they're computer enthusiasts, geeks, software developers, stuff like that. IT professionals that have to service PCs would also be aware of much of those tools. There's lots of competition out there for other developers with similar tools. An added security feature tonight, something I've been using for years, called Malwarebytes Browser Guard. All my browsers on all my machines have this extension installed. And the third main thing that I'm going to talk about, it's going to be a problem for some people to totally comprehend, but it's called Malwarebytes Firewall Control. The software does not replace Windows Firewall. It adds capabilities to that firewall so that the combination of Windows Firewall plus the Malwarebytes Firewall Control make a bigger, more powerful tool to block things out of your computer. You have to remember, the manufacturers of our routers, to techs, provide information, and these criminals out there quite often know how to identify what router you've got, figure out how to get past the firewall. It's not that hard for the professionals. And then get into your home network. If your computers don't have their own firewall and other pieces of software to protect you, you could end up having them take control of your machines easily. If you've got safeguards, it makes it difficult for them to be able to break in and take control of just one device. And if you don't, I have lots of computers, okay? They don't all have the same kind of login. They don't have the same characteristics. So each machine, they have to figure out what's going on. How do I get into this remote machine and take control of it? And they'll turn your computer into a zombie after they suck out all the information that a lot of people used to think there's nothing on my system. Who cares if they break in? Who cares if they take a copy of what's on my system? But they, from that, they know every online account you got, the username you used, and the password, along with many other pieces of information, which means they can take control of your life. And that's not a joke. That's a sad fact. And a lot of people try and use the same login to every computing device they've got so it doesn't tax their memory. Which device am I playing with? What do I use to get in? There are people out there with Windows systems. Windows, when it installs, makes you the administrator. That should be a local account and not a standard daily use account. You only use the administrator's account for the things to maintain your system, back it up, etc. But on a day-to-day basis, you should have a standard user account. That gives you some protection. If you get a infection of a virus, malware, ransomware, etc., it cannot take total control of your machine without prompting a message trying to fool you into saying, okay, go ahead. Once you do that, you've given them total rights to do anything they want to on your computer. That's the purpose of a standard account. Unfortunately, Microsoft is the only one that sets up your initial account as the administrator and wants to attach to a Microsoft account. And then you can make additional standard user accounts for anybody using the system. But the people who set up the system to begin with, they're still using the admin account for everything they normally do on a daily basis on their system and don't understand that they are in jeopardy of having that computer taken over more so than a standard user account for every person using that computer, including the person who set it up. So really, you have to play a game. You end up having to create a local, non-attached Microsoft account as an administrator. You then have to turn around and take the one you set up attached to the Microsoft account and drop its capability from administrator to the standard account after you've made the other account and know it works, because you have to do the downgrade of your initial account that you made on any new computer into a standard user to give you an extra piece of security. Okay, now I gotta share my desktop. Okay. Darn it. I keep hearing something in the background.
Not here.
Okay, now this piece of software here, bring that up and try and minimize it. Nuts. Okay, now I gotta play the game again. Sorry, this is taking longer than I wanted. And I gotta move some things around in order to stop them from causing me a problem. And you a problem too. Now you are irking me. Well, at any rate, let's see how I do here with this. Okay. Now we got most of it out of the way. Whoop. Anyway, all right. This is a PC Manager by Microsoft. This is a great little tool, like I said earlier, should have been made about 25 years ago at least. Right now, this can be downloaded, and the handout has a link to it, to Microsoft to download it. You can also go to the Microsoft Store on your computer, put in a PC Manager, and download it from there. Now, what does it have for you? This is a multi-function tool that you have to understand a bit. And what it does, it added in what's called a PC boost. Notice I'm using 42% of my memory right now on this machine, and I have 23 megabytes of temporary files that can be eliminated by just clicking on boost. Little rocket shows there. This dropped to 0. This has now dropped down to 28%. And that's a real plus for some people. Many people won't notice that much unless they're a heavy user of their computer. It comes into play with things like browsers that you use. Every tab you got open besides the browser take up memory space. So if I got 10 tabs open, I could be using somewhere in the neighborhood of a gigabyte or 2 of memory. But when you close that tab, one of those tabs, it should give back that memory to other applications you're trying to run. It does not, in some cases, it does not do that. That's where this PC boost comes in. The next thing is health check. This gives you an idea. It says everything in the PC appears to be running good. If there's something that is a problem, it starts listing it here in the body. You click none to get back to the main page. You also have deep clean. Now, some users know that if you right click, say on drive C in File Explorer, you can right click, select properties, and you'll get an image of how full the drive is, and it has a button that says clean up the disk. If you're in a standard user account, you click that and it shows you the junk it found just for the user, not for the whole system. If you click on a button on the left side from that button, it is advanced features. This will show you everything on the system that is garbage. And it allows you to remove them. The tool is a cleanup manager, and it's been there since Windows 3.0. Well, deep cleaning runs that same program, but at the administrator's level. This is saying I've got Windows Update cleaning that could be done. It's only 1.6 megabytes. I got 32 gigs of Microsoft Defender, probably previous definitions of viruses and malware. Temporary files that all computers constantly create, use, and a lot of them do not delete their temporary files when they're done with them, which is crazy in my book. I also have 2.8 megabytes in Windows Prefetch that I can check there and have that removed. Also, delivery optimization. It's next to nothing at 48 kilobytes, but I'll put a check mark there. It also sees that my cache for Firefox browser has about 1 kilobyte. Drop in a bucket. But I'll put a check mark there. And down here it says web caches. Internet Explorer browser. Pieces of it are still being used today by Microsoft, and it has a little bit of data out there. Edge browser, which is open right now, has about 110 megabytes, and I've only got, I think, 2 tabs open. Edge temporary files, I got 7.2 megabytes. I'll put a check mark there, and I can hit proceed, and it cleans out what it can. It may not be able to get everything. These little circles here indicate there were files it was not able to close because they are open and in use. It got rid of those files that were closed and weren't being used. And this is on your disk, not in the browser. This here is part of one of the browsers, and so is this down here. So you've got a cleanup, and I can say done. Now you've got processes. Do you have any clue how many processes you run on your computer? It's constantly changing based upon what you're doing on the computer. Are you a person that does absolutely one program at a time, or do you have multiples open? A lot of people have multiples open. These are some of the programs right now that are processes that are running, and I can end any of them, but one of them is an antivirus that works in conjunction with Windows Defender. This has the Firewall by Malwarebytes running, and there's widgets. I can click in and say kill the widgets. I don't need them. Flux is a program that changes the temperature of your display screen by removing blue light during normal daytime hours and starting to turn it orange like sunlight might be. And it bothers some people, but it's something to save your eyes, and its purpose is to try and prevent the blue light from disturbing your sleep. Then I got Microsoft cross-device service. At the moment, I don't need that either. This is if I have my phone attached to, my cell phone that is, attached to my computer. And I'm going to just end that one too. Uh, Logitech for my web camera. Macrim Reflect is my backup software. I've got a widget service. I'm going to end that too. And what you have here is two processes from Macrim Reflect running in the background. The last one is to be able to determine if you got updates. Now, I'm going to back out of that and go to tools. Oops. Come back here. This is startup. Startup folder has usually tons of programs that people load into their system and want to run at startup. Well, these two are definitely going to be on. This update checker, because of the way I update software on my computer, I do not need running, so I turned it off. So that gets us back to the tools. Now, I'm going to go to settings first. And settings, now, this is fairly recent, now has an automatic memory boost. When your machine gets down to only about a gigabyte of temporary file space, and it'll get rid of it automatically. I only have started using that recently. You have shortcut information that you can use and or you can change. This is telling you what you can change it to versus this is the default. You have general settings. Start PC Manager automatically when Windows starts up. I have that on. It keeps track of things that you are doing as you use the computer, making it faster in response time, and this doesn't take up that much space. Early access. Early access is an experience for the latest features. I look at that as being like Microsoft insiders. They look at either beta level developing software that seems to be pretty stable, not totally flawless. And then there's the developers channel, which is every new thing that may be coming someday in Windows. And it can be loaded with bugs, which means it can be a headache for the average person. I usually use the beta channel for the insider. Well, if I turn this one switch on, that would give me early, I assume, beta type developments, and that might introduce a problem I haven't had so far. So that one I leave off. Then you have auto update. I have that on so that as they come out with the newest version, Windows Update will bring in the latest update for the system. And there's a little bit down here for the appearance system. And you've got, you can change some things. So you can go from a system setting you already have in the computer to a light, bright type of display and or a dark type display. So you got that customization capability. I'm going to go back to system. And then you got some more language. If you got multiple languages within your household, this gives you the ability on a per user basis to change the language to which that individual wants to use. This is information about the product, what version it is, and you can also use it to help contact them if you found an issue that needs to be brought to their attention. There's also feedback. If you got an issue, this is where you come and you try and use one of these categories for the kind of problem you had, then details, description, just a description, and then you got to describe in detail what you did that caused a problem that maybe they need to look at and make a correction. This is important. It is in Windows. It's been in Windows 10 and 11. I don't remember if it was in 8, and I don't think it was there prior to 8. Pardon me. So I'm going to come back up here. Now, this is the home page, but I can go into each individual area. And under System Protection, this is Windows Update. There's maybe something available there at the moment. It says available. Browser protections, task repair, restore default apps. This is if you start running into some problems or you want to add turn on features in Windows Defender without having to go to the links of getting into it through settings or through hotkeys that you got to remember. Next is storage management. Now, I have storage management turned on in Windows settings under System to automatically go through looking at my entire drive, and periodically it'll give me information what I can easily delete. Download files would be one big one with me, but I cut that down quite a bit. But I used to have that quite a bit. If you want to know what your large files are on your system, this little sucker will go out there and find you the largest files down to the smallest files. So and this is the storage sense. Storage sense, you can now also activate from here instead of going to the start button, settings, system, and finding storage information. This brings it up directly, and like I said, I keep mine on. Pardon me. Next is apps. These are, will show you the process management startup apps, which we covered before. You can also manage your apps from the application. You can go to the Microsoft Store from here instead of having it down on your taskbar and launching it from there. The last feature is Toolbox. Toolbox, I don't have active on this machine, but on the other two machines I'm using here, it is active. I turned this off deliberately so that I could show you it. And what it does is if I turn it on, whoop, you'd hit it. Darn it. Yeah, you hit it. There. I got off of it. Can you see that little box there? Why it's, I'm not sure why it's disappearing. That little box can be put on your right side of your monitor, the left side of your monitor, or the top. It cannot be put on the bottom where your taskbar is unless you go into settings, personalization, toolbar. You can move the location of your toolbar to one of those sides or the top instead of at the bottom, and then this tool will appear at the bottom. it could be part of what's going on there, that it's probably something in the way, because I'm on Zoom. It's probably the biggest reason. But anyway, Windows tools, no Windows tools are available. That one I haven't totally figured out. And web tools. So it's a case where I can add tools at times, but why it's showing in this one here, I have no tools, mystifies me. On my other machines, I do have tools such as snapshot. Uh, you can take screen snapshots by bringing it up through the toolbar, which you, when you move your cursor to the side or top where you have it, it'll pop out. The first top item, and I can't show it you here, is that boost function. And then other tools you added to the toolbar, like the snapshot or the snapshot folder, calculator, weather, and several other tools. There's about, I think, about a dozen. So it's useful tool by, and I'm assuming right now because of Zoom, this is not showing you the thing, but if I leave this turned on, when I'm done with tonight's meeting, it'll appear on the screen and I can move it to one of the sides or the top of the screen. You have to figure out what is best for you, the way you use your computer and what you have on the screen, because at times you're trying to get something that's off towards the edge of your screen or the top of the screen, and this thing might pop out, blocking you from doing what you were trying to do. Not a joke. I've been there. So that's PC Manager. Does anybody have any questions on its functionality and how to use it that I can try and answer? Boy, you're a talkative bunch. Is anybody awake?
Yeah.
Bert?
Yeah. When people are deleting files with these systems, they should be careful to not delete things in the recycle bin, which may be important. Um, to be sure that the recycle bin's information is clean, and the downloads as well, to not delete something that they may still need.
That's those are two good things. When it comes to the trash bin, I usually know what's there, and so I'm not worried about it. Other utilities, including this PC Manager, will delete what's in the trash bin. The download folder, that one I have blocked because I keep my whatever I've downloaded in my system until I decide to manually delete it.
There is also a recycle bin in OneDrive, which also should be checked before clearing.
Yes, but a lot of the tools don't always go out to the OneDrive. I don't. I have no idea why, but when you take into account CCleaner as one example, unless you go into its settings and say, leave my download folder alone, leave my trash bin alone, I'll take care of them manually myself, it will do it. So that's a headache. And this is where any software you put on your system, whether it came with Windows or whether it's something you add from Microsoft Store, you got it from another site like Major Geeks, Softpedia.com, Night Night, and Patch My PC are several of them. You got to go in and explore these programs a little bit to see what their functional capabilities are, because developers a lot of times disable a lot of features that you might like and might want to use. And it's up to you to discover the settings and capabilities and turn on what you want, try it out. If it doesn't work, turn it back off. So you have to have a child's mind. Think of your kids when they were little. What does this do? What does that do? Etc., etc. And they're always in an explorer mode of mind. That's how human beings start learning, down in our early childhood all the way up. But somewhere along the line, most people either think they know everything there is to know, and usually they don't, and it can be usually proven. And so you have a situation where you might have a piece of software that has more capability that you rely upon daily, and you're not even aware of it. Its capability. Some of it can be automatic. Some of it is an option that is hidden. Now it becomes visible to you. So this even gets into Windows File Explorer. In there is a way of showing your extensions to files, so you know what an executable is versus a data file versus a picture, etc., etc. And also, there are files that by default are hidden from the average user. You can turn that feature off and be able to see the hidden files. Just know what the heck you're doing, because you can make a mess of things. So it's a combination of things. With computers, you have to be a parent to a child, because the computer's knowledge and abilities are at a child's level. And as you explore the features of your software on your computer, you have the ability to see a lot of things that you can use for your individual use of the computer that make things better. This is one of the programs. If you download it, it should come with Windows. As far as I'm concerned, it shouldn't be a download that you got to know about, download it, and here it is. This should have already been there. All right, I'm going to get out of this one. And the next one is the Browser Guard by Malwarebytes. This is its emblem up here. And right now it says, I'm trying to block from my websites ads and trackers, malware, and scams. Nothing is perfect. So you got to have usually multiple tools. But this one here has been even saved me many times. When I want to go to click on a link, a tab pops up and a big warning comes up. We don't recommend you go to this site, but if you think it's a good site, it'll give you the option to go ahead and go to the website. If you don't know what the website is, you've never been there before, you should close that tab and get out of that. So this is a very powerful little add-on. How do you get it? Well, this is up here are settings, allow certain things, or support. You have your options here. I can turn off ads and tracking, or malware, or scams. And I can do this on an individual site basis. but I usually leave it live. Now, if I take Edge here and I come over here, I have extensions. If I go to extensions, it's showing me what I have. If it's got a line through the eye, it doesn't show that piece of software, but it's still there and still does whatever it's supposed to do, like this one. And I'm using Bitwarden more and more on my systems. That's this one up here, the Shield. This is a special piece of software. I don't want to see it on the toolbar, but it tries to block some of the websites from getting carte blanche information about you and your computer based upon how you set it up. Export tabs is a piece of software that's specialized for me that I don't want to see up there all the time. But there's lots of things here. And if I go down to manage extensions, this is another view of them, and I can turn them on and off. If I have, for example, down here, I've got a program on my primary machine that I'm running the meeting on. I have this program with 1314 windows and up to 1400 tabs. Sometimes this program fails and I have to turn it off and then turn it back on, and it starts working normal. And it's just not made for all the windows and tabs I keep open as a researcher. And that's what I try and do, is research stuff out. However, there are two things on here. I can go to Microsoft Edge's store to get extensions, and I can get probably 2/3 of my normal extensions for my browser from this store. But for almost all other browsers other than Firefox and Firefox-based browsers, I come down here to open up Chrome browser. Chrome extensions here are the same ones you get in Chrome browser, and they work inside of Microsoft Edge, but sometimes they give you a warning message one time that you can ignore. It's they don't want you using Chrome Store, even though it's got most of the same pieces of extension software for the browser. And any browser based upon Chromium browser, and that's the majority of various browsers out there, including ones like Brave, Vivaldi, Opera, etc. You can come to the Google Chrome browser store for extensions. If you got one of the browsers that tries to stop you from installing extensions, quite often you can open up a tab, type in your search box that you want to go to the Chrome web store, click on it, it'll bring it up just like it is right now. And so it's a case where we have the ability to add extensions, with one exception I know of, and that is DuckDuckGo's browser. I have not yet been able to add an extension to it. I need my password manager at minimum, and would also like to have malware browser guard. So I'm going to type in the search box here, malware, and that's as far as I have to go. The top item is Malwarebytes browser guard. I open it up. I'm not going to do anything with it here because it's already installed. This would allow me to remove it, and then I could turn right around and reinstall the extension. Extensions, you don't want to go hog wild. There have been people that have gone hog wild on extensions. They take up memory also. This, if you start using too much of the memory you got on your machine, that slows it down, slows it down, slows it down, and until it freezes up or automatically restarts itself, trying to get rid of whatever it can. If you got a machine on 4 gigabytes, forget it, unless you're running Linux. You've got to have an absolute minimum of 8, and I strongly recommend 12 to 16 gigabytes. And some people hosting a meeting on Zoom like this, you want even more than 16 gigs of memory if you can, because it consumes a lot of the resources of your memory, especially for the video. So anything you're seeing on the screen is using part of your main computer memory unless you have a discrete graphics card with its own memory. Even then, quite often, they will reserve space out of your main memory to use for like a video overflow buffer. So that if you're taxing a discrete graphics card, okay, fine. It's going to take care of the problem for you by using your main memory. So that's where I got the browser guard. I got a lot of other ones up here, and about 3 or 4 of them are to block ads, malware, scams, etc. So that's what I'm trying to get across here. This is really not something to be afraid of, but you do have to watch it because some of the browser extensions, some people have tried to do things that invade your privacy quite a bit. One of my tools, the owner of the app, the tool extension, sold it to another person. That person changed its characteristic to steal information as much as it can off of your system and feed it back to them. They could then probably sell it to other people for whatever purposes they want. The original person took his original code and renamed it to a different name. That's what I use now, and it's to manage tabs and put them to sleep. It'll do it automatically, but sometimes you can be overloading your browser a bit and things slow down. You can go up there and have it put to sleep the tab you're on or all other tabs. And it does a pretty good job, but sometimes YouTube videos, if you got multiple ones open, sometimes they don't want to close except manually. So that's that little piece. Now, close that down. The next piece I'm gonna is this one here. This is Malwarebytes Fire Control Center, and it's a very powerful piece of equipment, and it enhances the Windows firewall. And I trust Malwarebytes. Now, I'm gonna bring back up the browser, and I've got a very short video that I'm going to play regarding, oh, I hope I didn't, I think I did that twice by accident. Oh well. Yeah, I did it twice. I'll bet you that's it. Okay, this is the video. Wait a minute, I forgot I gotta share it. I don't like what they do. Zoom becomes a headache. Okay, now.
Firewall control is a tool that provides fast access to the Windows firewall settings and enhances functionality by letting you manage networking rules for each application. It mainly caters to experienced users, such as network administrators. Once initialized, the app creates an icon in the system tray area and allows you to select the security profile, ranging from no filtering, turns off Windows firewall, to high filtering mode, blocks all inbound and outbound connections. When it comes to rules management, you can allow or deny access to any application, disable, delete it from the list or create a duplicate. The list shows names, groups, programs, locations, statuses, actions, directions, locate and remote ports, remote addresses, protocols, and services. It is possible to sort items by status or direction, inbound, outbound, all, user created, use a search function, view recently blocked programs, as well as switch to a simplified viewing mode for enabling and disabling program access. As well as for adding a new app to the list. Windows Firewall Control features a control panel where you can make additional tweaks. You can integrate the tool into the Explorer context menu, set it to auto-run at startup, disable other programs from adding firewall rules, activate global hotkeys for the control panel and rules management area, adjust the frames hue, import and export rules, as well as access some Windows tools, firewall with advanced security, command prompt, event viewer, resource monitor, Windows registry. All in all, the application has a fair reaction speed and works smoothly, without causing any problems to the OS. It quickly applies rule changes. Windows Firewall Control is an excellent utility for a better control over Windows firewall options, especially when it comes to setting up rules for each program. See you next video.
Okay. Shrink that down. And this is firewall. Now, right now, it says I'm not really blocking with this yellow outbound connections on this machine. Most of my machines, I run, it'll be all green. But you go here to the profiles. Right now, I have low filtering. That means that you're mostly relying upon the default Windows firewall settings that came in your computer. I can turn this off, but I rarely do that, and it's only when I'm having a troubleshooting session that I might turn it off. Normally I have mine set to medium. Medium, if I go back to the dashboard, says I am green all the way. I know I'm in that mode. High, there are a lot of computers, unlike many, but not all laptops. Some have a switch of some kind, either built into the keyboard or external on the palm rest, down in front, something like that, that'll turn off your Wi-Fi so that you are only using the resources of your computer. Hey. Okay. Boy, this is different. Um, Okay, now you got two pieces on this display. This is the Malwarebytes firewall. This is that toolbar for PC Manager. It's very small right now, and I should be able to add tools to it, but right now it's showing none, and I don't know the reason why, so I can't do that. But you can take and the top here and move it to the side of your computer screen wherever you want to, and it should hide it. But right now it's not playing fair with me because of the fact that I have probably so much either going on this machine or whatever. But anyway, I just put that off to the side. Now, one of the things with Malwarebytes browser firewall control is that you now have a button up, usually here, when you first launch it. And it requires you, it allows you to view everything it does or has the capability of, but you can't make changes. You have to click the button and log in with your administrator password on your computer, and then it gives you the ability to change things on the fly. One of the main tools that I run is this one down here that's turning green as I go over it with a pointer. And I don't know if you can really see that well or not, but it's got a white outline, and as I move the cursor over it, it turns green, but it almost looks like it disappeared. I click that, it opens up another window. And this window here, I have this check mark here, auto refresh on when I open this particular report up. Now this report is big. It's saying all these things have been coming up. Microsoft Edge WebView 2 seems to be becoming a standard, and sometimes a browser will not work if this is blocked, and I might have to go in here to make a change. It tells me the process ID. That's very important because a lot of these are the same number process ID. Don't worry about that. If you there's another area that is more important. You have here the name of the program that is trying to access the internet and being blocked. It tells you some of the information about where the program file might be. The action is blocked for all of these. These are, this column tells you, is this an incoming or is it an outgoing connection? And almost all of them will be the outgoing. Source address. This is the IP address of the machine that I'm on right now. Since I have multiple machines, I'd have a different number depending on the machine I was on. Next is the source port. I usually don't mess with the ports. There are ways of closing them if you want to for security purposes. Destination address. This is saying where it is attempting to connect to out on the internet. This is destination port number. 443 is SSL locked and encrypted connection. Some of these are for other particular ports that may have different functions. Some of them are for email. Some of them are for pinging another computer. Some of them are for other various networking functions. This protocol is more important. This first line here and the second line here have the same process ID, but it's saying these are outbound. The first one is TCP. This is the primary protocol for the internet. This is UDP on the second one, and UDP is kind of like an unsecure backdoor connection that a lot of software does make on your computers. But sometimes you have to allow it. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on this first one. It gives me a menu. I can allow this connection, TCP/IP. I can block it more permanently. I can customize this, but you have to understand, because of security problems, your software is constantly changing if you're smart and keep your software up to date. Therefore, yesterday, a program such as a browser worked. Today, it doesn't work. Why? Because you got an update in, and it's now using a new connection that you're blocking, so it's not going to work correctly, giving you access to the internet. Until you come into the firewall here, find the entry, and say allow. UDP, I do not allow unless I find it's necessary to make the browser or other piece of software function correctly. So this list of rules keeps going and going and going, but it's only given you here a small window into all of the types of entries that are out there. It's given you the ability to decide what you do change, what you don't change. On a couple of my machines here, I had a piece of software. One moment, let me finish off. It didn't work lately, and I haven't had time to get to it. Well, today I got to it, and the firewall was blocking it. When I unblocked anywhere between 1 and 3 rules, depending on the machine I was on, suddenly that program started working correctly again. So that's what happens. Bert, you had a question?
Yeah, when you open a web page and there's ads all over the place, it doesn't have to go back to open that ad each time. Is that some of the things that are being listed here?
No, these aren't necessarily ads here. And I have other software in my browsers, like that browser guard, that'll try and block the ads. Also, I have Ghostery that does the same kind of thing. And like I say, a lot of times you have to have multiple programs to get the most of what you're trying to achieve. But in this case here, these are pieces of software. It can be Microsoft operating system, the various programs they provide to you in the original operating system when it's installed. Anything you add from the Microsoft Store, any programs you install on your system from a third party, all of them may try and provide information back to the developer about potential problems, but they also really come up with situations where they're getting additional information that is like an invasion of privacy, such as what machine make and model do I have? What's its processor? What's its memory? What's its storage capacity? Many other little pieces. What browser am I using? Am I on multiple sites? Maybe it may also be telling the person all the sites that you're on within the browser. So these are headaches you don't know about because you don't see them. This is where this extra firewall does what Windows Firewall doesn't do at all. Windows Firewall normally only addresses inbound connections, not outbound. And about 20 years ago, Al Cheeks on a machine got infected, and it sent out bogus messages. And if anybody clicked on it, the same thing happened to their machine. Any of their contacts went back to whoever made the piece of malware and sent out messages to the other people and kept infecting more and more people. For me, it didn't happen. I stopped it on my machine and got a hold of Al as soon as I figured out he sent it, and that's where the cause of the problem was. And he shut down his system and got rid of the problem. But this is outbound stuff, and most outbound stuff doesn't need to go out of your machine to whomever. That's why UDPs, I never mess with them unless I absolutely have to, and it's a guessing game. I can say, allow this one, it doesn't change anything, fine, I'll block it again. And I can keep going back and forth until I find the one it wants. And it's based on this process number. I only have to allow one for process 11852. I can ignore all the rest of them. It's superfluous information. Widgets, I don't use widgets, so I don't bother allowing it. So it's all blocked. And this is the way the extension works to try and reduce invasions of privacy and safeguard you from sending out information you don't want to go out.
Now this is working on Edge. Will this work on Firefox?
This is a addition to the operating system. So it doesn't care what you're running.
Okay.
It's superfluous. Anything that's running on your computer at any given time has to go through the firewall,
Okay.
out and come back in. Okay? Otherwise, your browser shows nothing, that it can't communicate. It'll usually say you have no internet. And if you go to the firewall control here, you'd see that browser listed with one or more process numbers. And you have to go to each of the process numbers first entry that is for TCP and allow those, and suddenly what wasn't working starts working. It's a complicated little piece of software a lot of people won't bother with, but this is increasing their privacy and security. I'm not joking. So I usually use it in this medium mode that I have to train periodically new things. It's an ongoing process. The first time you set it up, you're going to have a lot of things blocked on your computer that you got to unblock by reading through here. Okay, I launched Edge browser. Fine. Okay, here's Edge browser. But there are multiple things for Edge browser. There's the Edge browser WebView 2. And for some things, you need to have that one allowed. but not all the other ones. In other cases, it could be they made some kind of a change to the Edge browser, and it has to be allowed. And this all it has to do with all the security problems being out on the internet. And they're constantly finding issues that need to be addressed, and some of them will block the functionality, and then you have to stop, clear your mind a little bit because you're probably in a hurry or you're frustrated, something went wrong, and you got to remember, oh, I got firewall control on the machine. Let's check that, and I'll probably find that program's name in the list, and I say allow, and you may have more than one allow. Like I said, on this one program I ran on 2 different computers. On one machine, I had to allow 3 different processes, and then I had to allow on the other machine only 1 process, and the programs on each machine worked when they would not work. Any further questions?
This is a free software.
Only if you want it to be. This is, I only usually do free software, or if it's a paid program, I'll let you know up front it's a paid program.
Okay.
So everything I've showed you so far, 3 different things, they're all free. Now, if you can get a better deal than free, please let me know. I want to know myself. Maybe they'll start paying us to run their software. But look out for invasion of privacy. They'll know everything about you. That's not a joke. So this is a neat little program, and periodically, now, like I said, this limits what you can see. Let's assume I did allow that one thing and my program started working again. I may have to come over here and hit refresh the list if I left it open to get the latest things that are being blocked up at the top, because this is constantly filling up a file with all the information that it's blocking. But I can also take in the program, I can close this, reopen it, and since I've got it set to automatically refresh when I open that, it's now looking, and this is what's all happened. And right now I've got anti-malware core service. That has to do with Microsoft Defender, one of the settings. And here's widgets again. Here's anti-malware core service again. And in some cases, I have to make an allowance. This is one of them. So I got a 4708 process. I'm going to right click, allow. Come down here. It's still 4708 process. I can ignore them. Why? Because I've already released it and said allow this connection for that process. So that's 2 things I did allow in the presentation. So this is something. And right now, with the browser going with this up, I'm at 42%. I click on browser boost, and I drop my memory usage down to 32%. Oh, it even went down to 29 now. So that's another reason for the boost. There's another report here also on the other side of it. These are the actual rules, and you can manually make, and I don't recommend it, inbound rules, outbound rules, or any inbound, outbound rule that you may want to put in. And there's a lot of features to this, but it's also very confusing, and most people will not mess with this. This red one here has to do with Chrome. It's got a problem, so I'm going to enlarge that. And it's saying my public location for the Chrome browser. Public location is one of the users in every Windows setup. So I have an administrator account, I have a public account, and I have a standard account on every machine. And in some of them I may have multiples. And it's just telling me this is being totally blocked, but if I wanted to, I could unblock it, but I'm not going to do that. Green means it's already taken care of. It's allowed. Here's an inbound rule, and outbounds look like the majority of what's out there. So there's a lot of things the original firewall in Windows does not cover. Now the white ones down here, I don't remember all the details of it because it's been a long time since I got into this section. But it's gives you white areas. They may be inbound, outbound type rules, and they're local subnet. What does that mean? All right, I got multiple computers on my network right now active. I have printers that are attached to the network. They're all laser. And these are some of the things that are being allowed to communicate within my home. If I want to, I could block some of this stuff. But then something that is working right now stops working. So you have to understand that. Like I say, I don't think most people are going to mess with that area because most people are not going to sit down and try and figure out how to make rules. And making them manually versus this automatic method of making a rule up to allow something is a smarter way to go. You have in here right now notifications. I have it disabled. I don't care for some of the settings, but so I don't want display notification. It might help in some situations where I forgot I got the firewall. It's probably causing my problem, and I got to take care of it. There's also a learning mode, which I used when I originally installed it. That helped it learn what I'm connecting to. And then I can start blocking stuff by going through that automatic report. Mine's disabled at the moment because I don't need it enabled. On one machine, I'll take export all of its rules and put it on any other machine I want to. So it's quite flexible. You have shell integration. I don't think that's going to apply to most people, maybe some developers, but I would say that's the main thing. And most of the rest of this, a lot of it I just leave as default. This is showing outbound right now. I can show just the inbound on this report, or I can show both occurring. And that way, maybe I'm not able to get to a site because it's not, it's blocking it coming into my machine. So inbound rules sometimes have to be looked at when the outbound rules have been eliminated. If I have a problem, first thing I look at is just the outbound. And I might be able to correct my problem and life goes on. If that didn't work, then I have to look at the inbound and the outbound inbound rules to find out what's program might be causing the blockage. This is why this tool isn't for everybody. But if you're really concerned about privacy and other things, this tool is something to consider. And because you have an automatic way of between this rule here and this one down here, I can show my rules, outbound, inbound, or both, and I can allow or block anything that isn't already being blocked. So it's a powerful, powerful tool. You also have security settings. You can have it set to make sure that it's the secure boot has been checked, secure profile, and secure rules. So far, I haven't bothered with that. I haven't felt the need yet. That doesn't mean right after this meeting's over with, I might change my mind on some of this. But you have to research the thing. And so you have here tools that you can look at. This is a URL to check the IP address reputation. I think that's a smart thing to do. And there's three other tools here. These will, if they detect known IP addresses that are bad, you don't want to go to, this toolbox here, rule, will try and stop that and put up something to say, you're not going there. Unless you think it's a safe site to go to and you override me, then you can go. And you have an about. Almost everything has about. And I don't have a check for automatic updates. I get them regardless. I get a pop-up that says, hey, I got a new release of Firewall control. Do you want to install it now or sometime later? So this is a powerful little tool. I think it is one that most people really should have. Now, wow, got a whole bunch of those. And I have other pieces of software. They're going to be in the handout. If you're tired of 11 being full of junk, this is stuff you don't use, even though Microsoft says, here it is. You should explore it to some extent, get some kind of a feel of that new feature. And if you don't want it, this may give you the ability of how to take it out and how to remove Windows junk with an anti-spy program. This gets into the firewall, into your antivirus, and other tools to protect your system. But remember, a lot of the tools you're using, Microsoft made and gave to you free. So they can break their own rules and collect information on you. This is a way, one of the many ways of shutting down some of these things. I have other programs that allow me to do same kind of thing. Here's one for your smart TV has a USB port. Here's what you can do with it. And it goes through there and gives you some ideas of things you might be able to do with that USB port via your TV. I'm going through these kind of fast because time is running out. Gmail may start offering dummy email addresses soon. This is a way of protecting your privacy too. Instead of when you're going to join a new online site, giving them your real address, you would select a dummy address to give them that goes to your real inbox. They all point to your inbox, so you'll know by the address in the email what dummy address you were sending the information to. But you have to be careful. If you do a reply, it'll be from your live address in most cases. I've only heard of one exception that says, oh, for a fee, I can have this dummy address two ways, so that if I reply to a message to that dummy address, it goes out with that dummy address as the return address, not my real address. So that's something you also need to know about. Ways to use an old smartphone as a security camera. You can also, there are articles, and I've posted them in the past, how to take a smartphone that's old and use it as a webcam if you don't have a working webcam camera like we've got right now. Devices do die. Let's see what we've got here. And this is a video. Oh, this is on TVs. How to make a powerful TV antenna with just a plug. Well, this is a European style plug. You can still pick them up even here in the United States. And he makes an antenna that you can put on a window. If you're a do-it-yourselfer type person, you know a little bit about soldering, you'll probably be just fine. Malwarebytes. Air fryers are the latest surveillance threat you didn't consider, because a lot of them are now smart devices attached to the internet. But I'll let you guys read through this stuff. You'll get it in the handout. Update your Android. Google patches 2 0-day vulnerabilities. Well, that's fine as long as you have one phone with Android that gets updated for the life of your phone. And I don't know of any that do. On at least Samsung and Pixel phones, which Google owns, you can get, I think, up to 5 years. I don't think anybody's gone past 5 years. But most of the other brand phones are 1 to 3 years. But they don't tell you that on the package when you buy it. Let's see. Warning. Hackers could take over your email account by stealing cookies, even if you have MFA. Why? Cookies are made to try and provide information to developers or businesses where you've been on their site. It may also collect other sites you've been to, which will include the site name, will include your username, your password, and if you got MFA, it'll probably have that information also. So this is another headache you gotta be aware of. You also got a large eBay malvertising campaign leads to scams. So far, to the best of my knowledge, I have not been hit by one of these, but you have to go through that if you use eBay like I do. Here's a TV antenna review. If you want to kill the overpriced TV subscription through whoever your service is coming through for internet. I did that years ago. Then you have thousands of hacked TP-Link routers used in years-long account takeover attacks. So there's some kind of a weakness, and they're probably have by now some kind of an update for TP-Link to start blocking some of these issues. So if you got a TP-Link router, make sure you check out whether it needs a new update. And those get only covered for at most about 5 years. That's not a joke. After 5 years, you're on your own. Bumble, Hinge, Instagram, and Facebook already know who you voted for. Now that ought to be scary. If they already know who you voted for on an individual basis, that's a big invasion of privacy. Only you, God, and the voting machine are supposed to know who you voted for. Anyway, you can go through that one. Kim Commando, area codes and numbers that are probably spam trying to get you to buy something. Here's another video. How to use AI to read your lease. This one sounds interesting. If you're a renter, a leaser, even your software comes with a EULA. That's a type of lease, so to speak. This article will tell you how you can take those licenses when you have a digital copy. Go to an online site, and it will simplify the legalese that's in all these damn contracts, so that you can have a better chance at understanding what the contract is all about, your responsibilities, their responsibilities, etc. Here's another one. Secret to typing, trying a laptop at home. Basically what this concept is most places when you buy a machine give you a time frame in which you can return it if it doesn't satisfy you, or there's let alone a problem with it. So basically you'd go buy one. A lot of people don't know about this, I guess, and what they can do is get home, set it up real quick, and start banging around on the machine. When they got the machine all done up, then if they don't like something about it, it's a deal breaker. Odds are they can, if they got all the packaging, they can take it back to where they bought it, get it exchanged for a different machine, or maybe get their money back or store credit. It depends on the return policy of the vendor, which you need to know up front. How to take Apple's hearing test, and what to do if your hearing loss is more than mild. This is getting to be novel because now there are some kinds of hearing aid where you get an app for your phone to help adjust hearing aids for you also. And they may run a fraction of what hearing aids used to cost you. And that's technology advancements. Another video. Malwarebytes Firewall. That's through them. I've gone through all these here. So those things I talked about, those things I just gave you a brief visual of, are in my handout. So I'm gonna try, oh, I forgot, I'm in a browser. This is gonna be interesting. I may have to do some funny business. somewhere along the line, I think this machine crashed again because I don't think I got internet. Well, I mean, I got internet to the machine, but Zoom crashed again. All right, I got my alternative way of getting it out to you guys. Wrong machine. Search me a bit. Okay. Let's see here. And my computer and two net. That didn't register. Come on. Give me a break today. Sometimes I have a problem with one of my USB ports. There we are. Okay. And I want oh, that's why. Local drive. There it is. And that's it. Okay. In the chat is my document. It's got a lot of add-ons to it also that might be of value to you. Now I got to figure out on this one machine why Zoom kept dying. Do you all have the download? It's under chat.
Yep, it worked.
Pardon? You got it? Okay. If both of you got it. Unless there's other questions or issues to bring up, we're about at the end of the normal meeting time. I can't hear you, Bert. You're muted. Okay, well,
Very comprehensive program. I haven't used Malwarebytes, so it was an excellent presentation.
Yeah.
now the one thing I didn't do was cover Malwarebytes free software for detecting and removing the malware from your system. It's the best one at detecting and removing. I might do that next month. I've got another program that I've used. I did a presentation on it once. It can help in privacy issues in many instances, but not all. It's a tweaking tool for the Windows system. It's by a third party. Bert, you haven't been to too many of mine, but I've brought up many times patchmypc.com/home, and it's a piece of software that updates any free software on your system that they have in their library. And just recently it changed. I think they had probably in the neighborhood of 256 pieces of software in most of my system's version. And just recently I installed on a new machine, a new version, and it turns out they completely changed it. They got 512 pieces of software, and it takes quite a while to go through it compared to the old one. But a lot of
Yeah.
things like that flux for turning your display screen temperature, it's called, in the evening. That was never there. It is there now on the newest version. It's a good piece of software.
Well, I had this light, but the battery ran out. That's why I had to switch to the other side.
Ah. Well, I have one from Walmart, and it plugs into a USB port. So as long as I got power out of my USB port, I got the light. And it helps quite a bit in giving extra light on me. But this is a learning process, the whole thing, and it's a contiguous one. And I remember years back, people complaining about change, and they hate this change, they hate that change, they hate any kind of change. And it's like, give me a break. Life from birth to death is nothing but constant change. And
That's
there's
right.
a
That's the only
damn
thing that's
thing you can
constant.
do about it.
Yeah.
And it's all changing again.
It's constant
Yeah.
change. It's constant change, especially in technology, science, medicine. Look at all AI is really starting to help out in medicine. They've they think they found that the COVID RNA vaccines may be causing the body to create some kind of an antibody that attacks some versions of cancer.
Microsoft, a winner, one of the companies of the year, uh, also won a Nobel Prize. And because he figured out how to take proteins and change the formula, curl them up into from the original in different positions to be able to create new capabilities.
Yeah, and some of this is all generate from AI, and we're in still the absolute infancy of AI affecting all of us. Period. And it's going to be bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Uh, Apple's iPhone 16 has got a lot of AI in it because AI, though they're late to the game, has now joined the AI bandwagon also. So that means all the future phones are going to have more and more AI features, more and more memory, more and more storage, more and more, you name it, you're getting it if you buy a new phone.
Well, Apple hasn't got it out yet. It's
I know.
coming.
It's supposed to be coming. They're working on it. It's probably out in beta to beta testers.
18.2 is in beta.
Okay. But in any case, that's coming. If you really want to do a little more in AI, this Friday I've got a thing to go to at noon. It's Let's Talk AI, and it's an hour-long presentation about various things that at least one or more people have discovered out there in AI to keep people more informed. And some of these things are subscription-based things that they subscribe to be able to show you some of the features and capabilities you can't get in free versions.
Well, some of the programs they were creating that they were demonstrating today from Microsoft gave the ability to make your own AI. In other words, create a data where it's only searching your company's data, your certain type of data that you put in there,
That's correct.
and to kind of control the environment.
Right.
So it's not just who knows where it's from.
Yeah. And this is getting to be a bigger thing. It's mostly going to be for really companies, but it doesn't have to be Fortune 500 in all cases. It could even be the mom and pop business that might be able to use some of these same kind of features for their information.
Well, every program that you have will build itself with some of these AI features.
I don't doubt it. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. Right now,
And for bigger companies, they can create their own environments with their systems. But I mean, the little companies or just individuals, it'll just be built into the existing programs.
right. But I've got some news article I came across. I didn't go into it deeply. I didn't have time. But it's a gaming company using AI for the most realistic looking human based game of some kind. And I mean, they were shown a few pictures of women. And I'm telling you, it's only probably about 1 or 2% of the women in the world that could even come close to matching what they created. Everybody else looks like, who cares about that? So it's even getting into everything, and I don't see how they can honestly control it, like the various show writers and the people who lay out the format of what the program is going to be the content of and stuff like that. That a lot of companies struck their employees struck for to try and get protections. I don't think there's any goddamn way of doing it.
Well, standards change all the time, and sometimes they're seasonal. In bathing suit weather, it's very one way, and now it's long dresses.
Well, that's always true, but you have people whose values and morals are not necessarily the same as yours, and you may not like something that they're doing. In fact, there was recently Roblox got nailed because they were showing some content in Roblox game that are not appropriate for young children. And they
I think they just put some locks on it for
right,
for kids under 9, and
yeah,
another section for adults.
yes. So I mean, this happens all the time, but at the same time too, uh, it doesn't matter who you are. You're not going to get away from AI. It's in the cars too, and if you don't believe that, you haven't been in a new car in a long time, and I haven't. But I already know a lot of features that are in these cars now that are governed by AI.
Wayne, how's your car going along?
Well, I had a Tesla Model S that I was leasing. When the lease was up, I bought it out and sold it. Then I bought a Toyota RAV4 plug-in hybrid. So that's what I've had for the last couple of years. And in the summertime, I can get over 50 miles on all electric. In the wintertime, it drops down about 38 miles. But on gas, I can go over 400 miles. So that's, to me, this plug-in hybrid is the future. It's all electric is not practical when you're doing a lot of travel,
Yeah, but
and
you got to be,
especially if you get out in the boonies.
Wayne, you got to be careful about hybrids. There are two kinds. There's the hybrid you have. It's called a gas hybrid, meaning that after the battery runs down, it turns on the ignition, starts up the engine, and you're running off of that to get your car around. The opposite is the hybrid you plug in your garage,
That's what I do. That's
Well,
what I have.
Well, you have that too, but you have a gas hybrid. I can tell because of the mileage you get on the battery. These other hybrid are a plug-in battery one, much more battery in the car than what you have, and it'll go farther on the charge. Maybe right now there's a few because of new technology going in the batteries that they are trying to increase the mileage. Some are up to around 300 miles, and there may be some that may go 400 or 500 miles on a charge. And but they have a gas engine. All it does, it won't move your car. It's there to try and generate some additional electricity for the battery charging so you get more mileage.
I'm not familiar with those.
Yeah.
But plain the hybrids, the hybrids don't have a big. Well, my wife's car is what's called a mild hybrid. It's got a 40. It's got a 20 horsepower electric motor, and it's got a 40 volt, 48-volt battery that's separate from the 12-volt battery, and um, it uses that 20 horsepower motor for braking.
Mm-hmm.
And it also
That's
and that's how it starts the engine.
that's
They don't have a regular electric starter anymore.
yeah, and see that's the funny part about the cars. Uh, when you have a lot of the electric type non-gas only vehicle, the motors in the wheels are also your brakes. And
Yeah.
so as soon as you take your foot off the accelerator, instead of coasting like a normal gas car, you end up having the motors start doing the braking. And
Well, that's what my Toyota does.
yeah, that's right. All of them that have electric motors to run the car, uh, it automatically starts braking, and you may not want that. You may be used to, in a gas only vehicle, driving and you're a block away from, well, less than a block away from a stoplight that's red. And it may be a long delay type of traffic light because you're familiar with it. And you let off the gas and let it coast its way all the way to the stoplight. Then you hit the brake.
Yeah.
You can't do that in electrics.
Now, what's weird about these, it was like on the Tesla where you have the virginity braking, and when you get down to about 1 or 2 miles an hour, then the actual brakes take over. And there's a period of time between where it's doing the virginity braking and the actual braking where the car sort of jumps forward a little bit.
Yeah.
And you got to get used to that.
Yeah. And that's one of the things. But with Trump coming in and some of his people, they would do away, if they could, with electric vehicles of any kind. Just straight gas.
Lots of surprises coming, unfortunately.
Ooh.
Lots of surprises coming in that area, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in January 20th. And I'm trying to get into the season. Actually, I just don't have a reason for shaving, and I just have let it go. But it's bugging me in that, so who knows? The next time you see me, I may not have a beard. All right.
Okay, good night.
All right.
Have a good holiday.
Why?
Oh, yeah, Thanksgiving's coming up. Is Ed doing a program Thursday night?
No. Thursday night is Ed Keating, and I haven't seen him send out his
No,
announcement
he
yet.
hasn't sent us anything yet.
No, he
No.
usually doesn't do it until tomorrow, Wednesday. And it's only one message, period. There's unlike me and Sanford doing the multiple messages, and then next Tuesday is the Linux normal date. It's also 2 days before Thanksgiving. People are already leaving for Thanksgiving holiday. So we decided to change that meeting date to December the 3rd. And in December, I have the Linux SIG normally would be on Christmas Eve. I don't think even I want to be in the meeting. So bottom line is that one got moved to Ed Keating's normal date of the 19th of December because he doesn't do December meetings.
Right. Well, the game goes on.
At any rate, I just got to figure out some of the things. And some of these things that they only come together just a day or two before the actual meeting.
Well, it's always current events.
I try and keep as much current, but I also fill in some older stuff that some people have forgotten that's still usable. They think something else was better or took its place. And that's like PC Manager. PC Manager, for the most part, is just giving you a single interface to use the tools that have been there most of the time. The boost function is new. And they probably bought or copied it from other developers who make memory cleaning programs, because that's exactly what it is. It's a memory cleaning program. And there are programs, for example, with all the windows I have for browsing and all the tabs, if I start taking and closing some of the tabs, it should give back the memory. So I can reuse it for new tabs or some other running program. But not all programs play nice. And this is
We're always dependent on the hardware. In other words, we had 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit, 64-bit, and now they keep talking about,
yeah, but
crazy.
it seems to be once you request them to do something and they take a chunk of memory, instead of giving it back, they hold on to it in case you want something else.
Well, that's true, but remember, we used to have 640K, and so keep giving us more memory from the hardware side, so that becomes less and less of an issue.
I know, but at the same time, too, right now, the way I do the browsing for my research, hell, I would have to have 32 to 64 gigs of memory alone.
Well, but that's,
No,
it's only going to get bigger. It's not going to get smaller.
well, all
So
the
why we haven't gone to 128 memory from 64, but what they're talking about now is a whole nother world where
yeah,
you've got this quantum computing that's
that's
leaves
not
everything we're doing in the past.
that's not there yet. It's still laboratory experiments, but
They announced today that they got 24 qubits, and that they need 100 to be able to make it useful.
yeah, but it's a case where too, when you get into just computer software, it's always ahead of the hardware and is always adding more features, more security than they used to do years ago, et cetera, et cetera. So everything gets bigger. So you got to have more memory, more horsepower in your CPU, faster disks.
Yeah,
storage.
but now they're making chips that use less power. And so it compensates for some of these other things that were the limitations before, and the standards keep changing. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we
Oh,
may
yeah.
not be there at the time, but
Well, I mean,
these things happen.
right
But, well,
now,
it's going to happen.
if I was going to get a newer machine, I wouldn't go higher than the 12th generation of Intel because 13 and 14 have problems in the design that cause them overheating. So they're now trying to create a patch that has to be installed on those systems to stop it from overheating because they
If
crash.
you're on Windows 11, you've got anything you need for now. And of course, it's going to change,
Yep.
but they didn't make the hardware, future hardware yet, enough to make the next jump.
No, but it's coming. They're working on it. I guarantee it.
Yep.